Ladies and gentlemen, another week, another Supercast. Welcome to episode 2 of Super Ultimate Podcast Extreme Remix. I'm your host, Zach GhostRobo, and joining me is my lovely flower of a friend, Gabriel Von Gabe.
Hello. I'm gonna call this episode Sky. Is that how you pronounce the Final Fantasy thing? The demo that was released for that?
Do Sky, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing, and instead of episode 2, this is episode Sky. I like it.
Episode to Sky. This week's episode brought to you by, dear God, please review us on iTunes. We're giving you $200 for doing that. Go on iTunes.
That sounds way weirder than it is. That's not.
Hey, this is how you get people to do what you want. We're giving you $200 to review us on iTunes. Download iTunes. Doesn't matter if you have an Apple or a PC. You can still do it.
Or an orange or a peach.
Whatever you got. Whatever fruit is your computing device of preference. Download iTunes. Go to Supercast. Search for it. We're the only podcast named Supercast. And then you can review us. Leave a review. Whatever you feel about me and Gabe, just air it out there, vent. And one of you will win $200 gift card to Amazon in episode 4, live and in living color. We'll even do the episode live.
We should do episode 4 live, actually.
We should. That will be the start of our live episode. Will be episode 4, where me and Gabe make one of you a millionaire.
By giving you a $200 Amazon
gift card. You a $200 gift card. We're going to try to find someone that has $999,800 and turn them into a very rich man.
All right, so if you somehow had a relative die and he left you $999,900 and what?
$800.
Yeah. Let us know. If that's all the money you have in the world and you're still unemployed. Then we'll close that off. We'll make you a millionaire.
We will complete your life and finish your cycle. This week's episode is also brought to you by Gorgonzola cheese, which my laptop and charger are covered in here in Santa Ana, California, for a bunch of different events. I put a salad in my backpack, and Becca, my girlfriend, says that's always a terrible idea. But this time, the salad had those little like plastic clamps, so I was like, "Oh, we're good,
fine."
So I put the salad in the backpack. And then I opened the backpack at the hotel, and there's cheese and pears and lettuce and all over everything in my backpack. And it got the most on the wires of the computer, I think, because like wires and cheese, like they have a fatal attraction.
They're magnetic attraction or something.
Yeah, so it's really cheesy up in here. So any Gorgonzola sponsors out there, we're ready for you. This week's show is going to cover a lot of cool games like Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2, Super Hot, Fire Emblem Fates, a little bit more Far Cry Primal, and then we dive into our Pokemon nostalgia trip, celebrating the 20th anniversary. Move on to news bites, and then wrap things up with your emails. You can email us at hellosupercast@gmail.com.
All right. And tell Becca she has to write in an email right now, and it has to be read on the air.
Right now?
Yeah. Tell her. Okay. Gabe wants you to write in an email. We're gonna read it at the end of the podcast.
We actually got a decent amount of emails. We got good emails. Keep them coming. You can send them whenever you want, morning, noon, or night. If you have an idea pop in your head in the middle of the night, send it our way. I want to first have a little complaint session, though. Is that okay?
Do it. Let's do it.
I'm at the airport, and I'm checking in for my flight on United, which I always have problems with United and American Airlines.
Everyone has problems with United.
I don't know why. They don't know how to do it. So I go use the scales to weigh my suitcases. And
heavy suitcases.
They're very heavy.
Yeah.
They both say that they're 49.5 and they have to be under 50. So I'm like, this is golden. I've got the golden ticket, basically 2 golden tickets because they're 49.5 each.
Yeah.
I take them to the other scale where I have to actually check in, and it says one's 57.
Oh no.
So I'm like, what is this, voodoo magic? So I'm trying to pull things out. Becca's getting embarrassed because I have to pull things out of her suitcase so you can see all of her personal effects.
Do you remember me and Trevor at the airport? Something similar.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, I'm like, Becca, no one cares about your underwear. Don't worry about it. So I'm just pulling things out of her suitcase and stuffing them in my backpack, stuffing them in her backpack. And so I get both suitcases to 49.5 again. Somehow. I don't again, this is all magical. Math means nothing in this world. I take them to the guy because United's really dumb. So instead of just giving your suitcases to the person, then they print the sticker and tag it and take it, you have to go print the sticker yourself, tag it, then take it to another guy who then validates it and then takes it. So needless steps. So that guy, he's a young guy, and he says one of them on his scale is 51 and the other is 49.
Oh, man.
And normally I have people let me through at 51, 52, even 53 sometimes. And he's like, you got to take a pound out. And I'm like, can you just let it through? We just, the other scale said whatever. And he's like, we just instituted a new thing that we can't let anything over 50. And I'm like, there's no one around. It's 9 p.m. at night. No one's gonna know. Can you just put it on the? He doesn't even have to like press anything in. He just literally has to lift it and put it on the conveyor belt. No one is gonna know.
That extra
He's
pound,
like,
Zach.
He's like, I can't do that. And I'm like, well, your other scale said it was the right weight. So how do I know this is the right weight? He said, I didn't buy those scales. And I was like, that attitude, like I understand it's not his company. I get that. But that's like if you went to a restaurant and the food came out burnt and horrible and you're like, hey, could I return this? And the guy was like, not my food. I didn't make the food.
That actually happened to me not long ago.
Really?
I went to one of my favorite restaurants, right? And you know, I'm very specific about how I like certain things. I have like a mild allergy to beans. I can't eat beans.
Okay.
It's a Mexican restaurant, so there's beans and damn near
that's
everything.
a real dangerous combination.
Yeah, there's beans and everything. So we said, hey, please, on a portion of this plate, because we got like a family platter thing.
Right.
It was 4 of us, and we said, hey, please, on a portion, just don't put beans. They said, okay, we got you. They brought it back. It had beans everywhere. So I tell, and you know me, I'm very mild mannered. I say to the waitress, ma'am, this has beans everywhere. Is there any way you could bring me a separate portion without the beans? And then she says, yeah, but the guy that cooked it said that he didn't put beans on a part. And she was very adamant about the fact that the guy says that there's no beans on
no, they're all there.
Yeah, and I'm telling her, I got a little bit frustrated. And another friend of mine, she's not as mild mannered. She's like, I understand you guys are saying there's not beans on a portion. It's everywhere. Come look. I don't care what the guy says. There's beans everywhere. But yeah, and then we asked to speak to the manager. The manager wasn't right. So similar situation is all I'm saying.
People are goofy. So that took forever, and then security took forever. And then I had to run to the gate
at 9 p.m.
to hold it. Yeah, at San Francisco Airport.
Okay.
Because I was up in San Francisco to play Quantum Break, which I can't say how it is. I will next week. We'll talk all about it in next week's show.
Just say I was right last week. That's all you got to say.
Gabe was right.
Yeah.
So right.
Yeah.
So I played Quantum Break. I played Killer Instinct Season 3. I played Below, which
I'm excited for that. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, and I played Minecraft and Oculus.
Ooh.
And I played, that was a trip. I almost died. Like literally, I can't really tell you about my experiences, but oh my God, my experience was wild. Okay. It was one of the most wild things ever. This Microsoft event, mind you, had a trailer of luxury bathrooms. So you went outside and you thought they were porta potties. Open them? No.
Dude,
this was like
take a shower.
Yeah, you could do whatever you wanted in there. And then I also played.
Keep it going, man.
You could also play other titles like Dark Souls 3, but I played that a night before for 3 hours. So that was fun. Can't talk about that yet, which I know is a lot of teases. But next week's show we'll have Quantum Break, Below, and Dark Souls 3.
Along with footage when we talk about them, right? You can show all that starting next week.
Very, very nice. I'm not looking forward to re-commentating over everything because I was basically commentating as I was playing because Becca was with me. So when we played Dark Souls 3, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. One time I said this game, I was like, stupid. And one of the developers was standing right there and Becca was like, don't say that. He's looking at you. I'm like, he's Japanese. I don't think he even speaks English. He's from Software.
Yeah. Also, like, I think they're used to people saying their game, like things about their game.
I could not believe people were throwing their controllers at the event.
Yeah.
People were slamming them on the table. I didn't do that. I just said that the guy was stupid once.
Did you beat any bosses?
I did. I beat 2.
Ooh, okay.
2 of 3. I saw one guy beat the 3rd boss, and he was very hard. Giant tree. You've seen him in videos. You have to hit his testicles. It's weird.
That's how you beat any boss, even in real life. You just hit its testicles.
But yeah, we'll talk all about that stuff next week. And then I have a live stream event tonight. So if somehow you're listening to this podcast,
which I really doubt, unless we put up the audio only tonight.
Yeah, and then Saturday you can come meet me. I'm doing a live event with Machinima.
Ooh.
Pimp them. Come play.
Say what's sponsoring the event, Zach?
Nope, not saying.
Zachary.
It's sponsored by Disney.
No, that's not. Well, sure, but what else? What are they promoting?
Hot Pockets.
Yeah, them Hot Pockets, man.
I made sure it's like, if I do this live stream, do I have to ever say Hot Pockets? Like, no, you don't have to mention them. I was like,
warm places to put things in.
Yeah. Like my hands, not my mouth. But they're gonna pair us up with a fan to play some 2-on-2 games. So I'm really hoping that I get like.
I'll be the fan.
Are you good at Halo and Call of Duty?
Oh, never. Well, no, never.
We're playing Halo, Call of Duty, Madden, FIFA, Forza.
I'm good at Madden.
Rocket League in real life.
And you know my Rocket League abilities.
But in real life, can you use a remote control car to make it work?
Probably not. But I'm good at Madden. I'll be your fan for Madden.
So not to sell this episode short, but next week's episode is going to be ridiculous. So make sure you're here when we actually move to Thursday.
Obviously, this episode's a little bit weird. Zach's in a hotel. The audio might not be what it normally is, and Zach doesn't look as white as he usually does. I look extra white. And
I'm trying to record us with Phil Jackson's Zencaster. So it's the
and I'm using a
program.
new recording thing, which hopefully doesn't blow up in our faces. Worst case scenario, we just use the audio from the actual video.
And I can see Gabe in a very tiny window on his screen because he's screen sharing himself, which is nice. I mean, you don't have to share anything with me. We don't. I mean, we're not blood brothers. We're not.
That's what you think. When we were at E3, I cut your hand, and I cut my hand, and we held hands while you were sleeping. That's
what the girl is not really was. You weren't putting gel in it. You were storing my blood.
Yeah.
Our blood mixture.
Yeah. So now
fusion of blood.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's move to games this week, and we'll start with my favorite, which is actually let's just touch on Far Cry Primal a little bit before we go to Garden Warfare 2.
Yes, please. I played some very cool sections of that last night.
Which sections were they?
Have you done the beast hunting ones? The great beasts.
Yes, I did my first one of that yesterday.
Which beast did you get?
I did Bloodfang or Bloodtooth,
the
Sabertooth guy, the one that like kills your
blood. It's a Bloodfang Sabertooth.
Yeah, him.
Oh man, that was fun, huh? I like doing those.
I really liked it. It is like a war of attrition. I feel like they intend for you to die multiple times.
I died once. I did that one.
I died like 4 times.
I did that one, and I did the bear. I only died once. I almost didn't die at all for the bear. I was nice. so. He basically one more hit killed him, but he just ended up, having a good position on me. He jumped on me and did what bears do.
I was probably meleeing too much, which is dangerous against those guys because they deal like 3 bars of damage, it seems like, with one attack.
Yeah, so it's constant healing. I had a lot of meat on me, as I usually do. And
what'd you do with the meat?
I kept feeding it to my buddy. I had a Sabertooth on me, and I would sick him. Basically, I would send my beast to attack him, and I would just run around in circles. So a large portion of the animal's health was taken in that manner, and then I had arrows, and I was crafting spears as much as I could. I threw some bee bombs at it. Those are pretty cool.
The hard part about the Sabertooth is that he runs back to his den.
And you're supposed to chase it to his den. But his den is enclosed, so it's much harder for you to run away.
Right. But that's where I kept dying.
Yeah, I only died once, so I feel pretty good about that.
You would have been a good caveman, I guess.
Yeah.
Prehistorically powerful. I really like. I feel like the variety of the missions has kept it interesting. I really like the visions, the ones with Tensei the shaman.
Yeah. I like the one where you play as what are you, a mammoth? And I
haven't done that one yet.
Oh,
I've only done 2.
Okay, spoiler.
But I assume you get to play as other animals.
Yeah.
I just like that they're like the paranormal things from Far Cry 4. Yeah. But I like them more here because they're just even weirder. It's not like, oh, you're just a guy with a spear. You're like an owl or a mammoth or chasing a giant fat Buddha woman. That was my favorite.
Yeah, through the ice. Yeah.
I just don't get why, like, okay, you're Takara, you're this like prehistoric man, and this crazy shaman guy's like, swallow these eyeballs, it'll be good for you. And you're just like, okay, whatever. Like, where is the logic in that?
Was there a lot of logic in 10,000 BC? He just if the shaman that's known for like medicine and shit tells you, hey, drink this, you're gonna drink it. So
yeah. I think the best thing is what we said last week is like it really feels like all the mechanics of Far Cry work the best here in terms of all the hunting and gathering. It makes sense. Like it feels like a good fit. Like, man, I got to keep collecting wood. I'll go and just hunt resources, which is something I never did in Far Cry 2, 3, or 4. And I like that everything just feels like it fits. But I've seen a lot of people kind of down on this one because there's no storyline. But I actually like not being bothered with the goofy plots.
Yeah, when people ask me how's the story, I'd be like, I mean, there's not a story. That's not what this is about. It's really not. Yeah. It's about the moment-to-moment gameplay. It's hunting these beasts, and riding beasts is very fun.
It is cool.
Yeah, I like shooting arrows at people while I'm riding a Sabertooth. It's just something I enjoy doing.
I like being the mammoth and like knocking guys into the air, just like using that trunk to fling them like it's a catapult or a pogo
Have you
stick.
upgraded your bow at all?
Yeah, I that was cool as well. That's something that's happened between this week and last week's show is getting the upgrades to the weapon not only changes their properties, but the physical look of them. Like they look much tougher, the bigger club, the longer bow, the reinforced spears. That stuff has been cool to see.
And there's 3 different bows, so it's not a huge variety of them. But the first one is just a normal one that we've all seen. The second one is more like a sniper. The draw distance it's meant for you to hit targets at a longer range. The third one, it's much quicker to draw your bow, and it shoots 2 arrows at once. Ooh. So they're all very different from each other. That second one is meant for, like I said, longer range. The third one is meant for just super close up. You just shoot 2 arrows at some dude running at you. And the first one is the one that everybody's tried. But yeah, fun stuff.
And I love the variety of the locales. That's something that I expanded quite a bit when I've been playing the last couple hours. Like going to the snow region and having that cold meter where you can only survive for 4 minutes and you have to like find campfires. Just some elements that I feel make Far Cry much more its own thing as opposed to just every other open world game.
And that's a section I had told you that I played last week. So you got to upgrade your clothes. Even you get like winter clothes. Technically, I know that sounds like very formal and like of our time, but you just have thicker clothes and it's cool. I like it.
And like finding like some like burnt out sections, and it seems like as I expand that map, the environmental variety just continues to grow and grow, which is nice. And just the different areas that you're like, okay, this is going to be a saber-tooth heavy area, or this is going to be a boar heavy area or a wolf infested area. That's been cool. And just running around in the land, I don't know, it feels much. I enjoy my time just hanging out because I do need to collect things along the way, or I do want to tame animals along the way, as opposed to Far Cry 4. It was more just like, hey, there's a quest giver at point B, so let's go A to B and, mash through his dialogue because it's not very interesting here. Like, they basically just say it how it is. Like, hey, we're going to kill this guy, come on. Or, hey, swallow these eyeballs and you're going to see a vision. And then you do it, and there's not a whole lot of BS. And those games aren't the strongest story-wise, so I kind of like trimming that fat and just giving you the fun open world gameplay with a heavier emphasis on survival.
Yeah, and have you done any of the? I won't spoil what they are, but the like major quests. Once you get to each one of the NPCs, they give you a couple of other tasks, and they get to like their one big one. Have you met? What's her name? She looks like from Avatar. She's blue. She has weird marks all over her. You know what I'm talking about?
I only have the main Tensei, Karush, Jaima.
Oh, so you don't have everyone yet?
I just have the main. I have the guy. Tensei is the shaman. Karush is the warrior. Jaima is the hunter lady.
Yeah, you have the pee on you guy.
Yeah, him, whatever his name is.
I don't know his name.
Yeah, and then Sayla, the main girl. That's it. Those.
Okay, yeah, but there's
two
some
more, I think.
Yeah, there's some very like awesome stuff coming up. It's a long game. That's one thing I'm realizing. I have played like close to 20 hours at this point. I'm like 20% done. I'm sure if I do like a lot of the main story stuff, the percentage will skyrocket. But since I'm trying to do everyone's side quests and try to capture all the beasts, I really want them all. I need 3 left. I have 3 left to go. That's it. And then I'll have them all. So it's like Pokemon, a mild Pokemon game. We'll talk about Pokemon more later, but
we'll move to Pokemon.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's been probably like the first true surprise of the year. Something that I expected to be kind of meh when I played it at PlayStation Experience. I was kind of like, okay, it's Far Cry with an animal and it feels dumb, but the combat, it's not great, but it's good enough that like I like running in and, like I said, either using the beasts or, like you said, arrows and bows, and the clubs are satisfying enough that it feels like you can move through encounters quicker than with guns, which seems totally counterintuitive, but it feels like the encounters have been abbreviated. Like when you hit a guy with a heavy club, a lot of times they'll go down in one hit.
They won't only go down, they'll fly away.
Yeah.
That's the slingshot is the only like weird thing. You have to like hold down on the D-pad.
Yeah, I just end up not using it.
Yeah, I would use it more because it's good. It's just that it's so weird to aim with it. I don't know.
It's also weird to aim with the shards unless you have the bow out, so you get the reticle dot. Like if you're using a club and shards, like I hope it hits somebody.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
A little goofy. Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare 2 is goofy, but absolutely glorious. I feel. Have you had a chance to play any of it?
Just very, very, very little with the EA Access thing. I haven't dived into it. Here it has single player. I haven't touched that stuff, so.
And that's what I wanted to just talk about. Multiplayer. We played in the beta, and you probably have seen it. And we talked about Garden Warfare in excess in the last podcast, and I have on my channel and stuff. But what I really love that they did here is they took a multiplayer only game and fleshed it out in a way that makes sense for that franchise and for that game. So there's quest givers around the world, and all of them will give you quests that involve either exploring the Backyard Battleground, which is the hub world, or being teleported to a multiplayer map and carrying out some sort of task. So there'll be modifications on the modes that are already there. So like Graveyard Ops, where it's solo ops now, so you can scroll through and be all 4 characters at once. And Graveyard Ops and Garden Ops are the co-op modes, defending like an area from waves of enemies and eventually bosses. Now you can do that by yourself and swap through, which is fun. But they'll have a twist. So like, oh, you need to power up this device. It needs sunshine, so you have to kill a bunch of sunflowers. And the more sunflowers you kill, the more juice you get. Or you'll do things like run around the world and you'll have to chase after this boss and kill him. Or There's just a bunch of random quests too with quest givers, like, hey, go complete this target challenge, and each time you get better rewards. There's a whole bunch of hidden stuff. There's hidden areas that hold prizes. There's hidden gnomes that you collect. I don't even know what they do. There's some secret doors that require a ton of stars, because the quests either give you coins for purchasing new characters and customizable items, or they give you stars, which then unlock stuff in the world. So you can unlock like a shooting gallery. You can unlock chests that give you new like items, and there's also apparently like bigger doors and bigger things that cost hundreds of stars that nobody even knows what's behind there yet. So super jam packed, but they didn't do the hey, we're a shooter, let's make a really dumb crappy on rails campaign. They fit a bunch of single player stuff in that like makes sense for PvZ, and I think like charm wise and just fun gameplay wise, it knocks it out of the park and justifies the $60 this time.
Have they fixed anything as far as just the balancing that it took so long to kill someone?
Yeah,
Or,
I mean, they're constantly making adjustments, and they did some after the beta. Like they made the imp weaker. They now are working on making the rose weaker, because as they balance things,
OP.
Yeah, which she seemed initially weak, but now her things home in a little. Her like thistle missiles, which is a glorious like word there, thistle missile.
Yeah,
write that one down. Anyways, so they are constantly tweaking it, and I feel like the class variety now is going to require that ebb and flow, and I don't know if they'll ever strike a balance. It feels like so many classes that are so varied, because it's not guns, right? You have a class that can turn someone into a goat. You have a class that can hold a shield and fire a beam. You have a class that can, call in a mech. So the balance is really tricky, and it feels like maybe they will achieve a perfect balance, but it feels like, okay, if we make the rose weaker, then someone else is going to be, you know what I mean? Like
that's sort of what happened with the imp. With the imp being nerfed, the rose kind of seemed the one that everybody gravitated to next. Right. As this is the one I can get a super high KD ratio with, basically.
Right. So
even though that's
at least they're working on it, they're very vocal on the community on Twitter and on their Twitch channel about like, hey, here's what we're doing, here's what we're taking in all the data, and they did a great job with Garden Warfare 1 of giving like tons of free updates. So I'm hopeful and confident that they'll be able to do that. The sticker packs is still super cool. You can import all your characters for Garden Warfare 1. So then when you buy sticker packs, you're only focusing on the new guys, which is really great. And it feels like a Destiny style game, like inspired by that kind of idea of like, hey, you're always in this world and always connected, but to fit Plants vs. Zombies. And I think it's fantastic.
Everyone does. I have yet to see a single person say that the game, underwhelmed them or anything negative. I've never heard anything but positive things about it. Everyone loves it, and I think for good reason. What I've played, I definitely like. It's just not the type of game that I'm going to sink a whole bunch of time into, just because I'd rather play Rainbow Six just because it's a little bit more hardcore in the gameplay.
Sure,
but this is a great game.
Yeah, the thing that surprised me the most was the beta revealed nothing of the single player or the campaign type quests. And to go in there and have all these quests, and like one you got inside the belly of a whale and you're like fighting off his like the stuff that's upsetting his stomach, and it's all these zombies or all these plants, that are inside his belly upsetting him. I mean, that would upset me
kids,
too.
Don't eat vegetables.
Yeah. So he like just all these like side areas and special like headquarters for the different classes, lots of cool stuff that was never even revealed. And it makes you think about games like Evolve, or things where everything was laid out before the game came out. And had they held more back, had there been like, holy crap, there's all this extra stuff once you put that disc in your system, that just seems to serve games so much better than trying to lay out. It's like that catch-22 of, hey, we want to lay out all the features we have so you buy our game, but at the same time, then people feel so overwhelmed with coverage and videos and events and previews that when you get it, you're like, oh, I've seen everything. So this was really nice that they were able to really withhold that, even from their top, favorite people. Like when I flew out there and played it, I never saw any of it, and they never showed anybody any of it. And that's super cool.
PC Gamer, they had an article about the Hitman beta. They said, and it was titled, "The Hitman Beta is too much like a beta," right? And that just makes no sense to me. Like, you want them to show you everything. Right. I didn't read it just because the title sort of like pissed you off. Yeah, it was obnoxious. So people seem to just like to complain about things. So I think it's good at withhold a game. I think Quantum Break is doing a great job of withholding a lot of the game. Yes, we've seen gameplay a lot more now, and yes, we have some sense of what's in the story. But a lot of it's still going to be a surprise when it's finally released, unless they decide to go and show everything.
Right. And I won't spoil anything or like, go against the embargoes, but I can say that like the sections they've showed do a very nice job of only giving you like a glimpse. I was really, really surprised by playing like a complete, final version of the game and like the actual.
Close to final. I don't know how final it is. I mean, it's gone gold.
They said it was the
Wow,
final build.
that's
And
crazy.
um, the cool part was just seeing the actual flow of like, okay, I've seen a little gameplay of like the time, combat mechanics and seen a little gameplay of the characters, but to see like actually like, okay, what kind of game is this and what's it going to be like? That is what reassured me that you were so right last week.
Yeah. All right. So moves along. What's that?
All right, tell me about Super Hot.
Super Hot is awesome, man.
You got to say it like the title screen. Don't they have
Super hot? I can't even do it. I don't got the voice.
That was pretty good. I give you an 8 out of
hot.
10.
Hot.
Hot. HAWT. Hot. Or hot like HAUGH, like a British person. Hot.
Figure it out. One of those. It's awesome, man. Okay. To me, this is more a puzzle game than a shooter. People keep saying it's a interesting first-person shooter. This is a puzzle game. How much you haven't played it at all?
I've never touched it. Not even the alpha.
All right. So you start off. It claims it's a story. The presentation is super awesome because it looks like a really old-fashioned computer console where you have like executables and just all you're seeing is data. And the premise is that like someone's sending you this pirated version of a game that no one knows what it really is, and you get dropped into this world, and it starts off by telling you the shtick of the game, which is basically everything only moves when you move, as far as enemies, the environment, everything. So you have a couple of enemies coming at you, and you have a gun. You're trying to shoot them, but once you shoot, for the bullet to keep moving, you're gonna want to move, but then they start moving. So again, I'm not making. Hold on. Damn it. All right. Email.
It makes good sense.
No. It's because I saw something that really, really distracted me. All right. So you're shooting a bullet, but then once you move, the trajectory of the bullet stays what it is, but the enemies are moving in their trajectory. So you got to time it perfectly, basically.
Can you go backwards or only forwards? Like, can you make the bullet?
No. Okay. They're going backwards. Forwards. Once you shoot a bullet, it has a set trajectory. Gotcha. The enemies themselves have a different set trajectory. So instead, this isn't a game where you're just going to aim for the head and say, oop, headshot, right? Unless the enemy's standing still. If an enemy's standing still, then sure, you got your headshot. But let's say an enemy's running from the right side of the room to the left side of the room. That means that you got to aim a little bit more to the left to basically compensate for the fact that, it's not going to be lined up once you shoot.
Right. They're going to move into it as you move.
Yeah. And also slow movement is really important. I thought this was going to be the opposite. I thought since time only moves when you move, I thought it was going to be a very fast-paced game. Mm-hmm. But you have to basically dodge bullets constantly because, again, you can stop and go. You stop moving, the bullets that they shot at you stop moving, so you got to figure out which direction you want to go in so that you don't get hit. You get hit once you're done. It's like Hotline Miami in a sense.
Okay.
That's what I equate it to. It's not as bloody. It's not as adult-themed, obviously. But I think it's structured in a similar way where each level is a puzzle instead of, this being like a traditional shooter. You don't have wave after wave after wave of enemy coming at you. There's a set number. They come from this exact same spawn point every time. So it's about you figuring out that level and how you are going to basically take care of everyone before they kill you in that, one shot.
How hard is it to like aim? Because I'm imagining in my head, like, okay, I have to judge like how many steps away he is, and like, is it really tricky?
It's tricky. There's a learning curve, but once you figure it out, you figure it out. Obviously, some enemies are moving slower than others, but you can see
it's not super precise though. Like, oh my god, I have to like aim like a.
Well, no, because you can hit them anywhere on the body and into one close to a one-hit kill. I don't know what shooting them in the leg does, but shooting them in the chest kills them instantly too.
Okay.
And if you miss though, here's the thing: there's more to the gameplay because let's say I shoot and I was off by just a little bit, the bullet whizzes right by the dude's head, and because shooting it's not instant. You have to wait for your gun to like reload every single time you shoot because of the time manipulation. The fact that time is so slowed down.
Right.
All right. So if you miss, you can instantly just throw the gun at him, right? So as soon as he gets hit with a gun, the enemy, if he has a gun, he gets like hit back, and his gun basically is in the air. You can catch it in the air, and now he doesn't have a gun, so you basically get another shot at it like that.
So it's only one bullet per gun?
No, it's not one bullet per gun. It's just that
you can stun them.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like missing, it's gonna take away your ability to shoot it again right away. That's what I mean.
Gotcha.
That you can't shoot like back to back. There's like a good 4 or 5 seconds where you can't shoot again.
Okay.
Because you just shot. And if you missed, your best chance is to probably throw the gun at him, stun him, pick up his gun in the middle of the air, and since that gun hasn't been fired, you get an instant shot.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a lot of small little gameplay things that come into play like that. I haven't played the game a lot. I played like the first hour of it.
How much trial and error is there, like in terms of, okay, I have to make this super set path, or is it more like, hey, you can kind of adjust on the fly and
you can fully adjust on the fly. There is no like set path. You can.
I just mean in terms of like, okay, is it that complicated where, hey, this guy's shooting here, this guy's shooting here, so I have to make sure I go right and then left and then
there's some of that for sure. There's some of that for sure, but each level is different though. It's not like every level is throwing the exact same thing at you. You learn how to jump. There's this like God mode thing where I believe you can like take a hit and not worry about it. But that you don't get all the time. You can't constantly be in God mode. But and there's certain things I just don't want to spoil because like they're cool experiences for you to experience them the first time.
Right.
But this was a Kickstarter game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there was like an alpha a long time ago, and people really enjoyed it, and I played it a little bit, but it seems like they really nailed down the level design, and not visual.
Are?
Huh?
Any clue of how many there are, like length?
No, I have no idea.
Okay, because it's what, $20?
I have no idea. I got a review code. Sorry.
It's 20. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, but just design wise, also super interesting. It's the only colors in it, the color of your gun, and then the white and the red. It looks a lot. It looks a lot like the original Mirror's Edge.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of.
In certain sections where
it's actually 25.
Okay, 25. Hey, it seems good to me. I like it.
Okay. Cool.
It's reviewing well, I think.
I've seen a lot of people say like it actually surprised them and came together really nice, because the concern early on was like, is this going to be fun for like one level, or will they find ways to, I don't want you to spoil it, but like they clearly find ways to mix it up.
Okay. It's awesome. Yeah, I think they took a lot of cues from like Mirror's Edge visually, because it has this very like stale visual style to it where everything just kind of looks like a hospital. Everything's like just fully just white, and only the enemies are red, and that's the only other color you see in the world. So visually it looks cool. Gameplay wise, it does something super unique. Instead of just being a shooter, it's more like of a puzzle shooter than anything.
Right, which is cool. Yeah, I definitely have to download it. I've been meaning to. Been out of town as we established for this week, but I'll download it and see if I can get some time in before next show, because like you said, I've heard nothing but positive stuff. That and Garden Warfare 2 have been kind of like the hot item things, and Far Cry Primal in general has gotten really good buzz as well. It's got some middling reviews from some sites, but I feel like the player base buzz has been really positive.
I think everybody's liking everything right now,
which is great.
And there's nothing that's like just out there as like crap. Even Firewatch that people are more divisive on. People that don't like it at least like respect what it was trying to do. And yes, it might not be for everyone, but which I like. A big variety in games right now, which is good.
And Fire Emblem Fates is completely different from everything we talked about. I'll touch on that briefly. Obviously, more of has a smaller appeal, but apparently it was the biggest launch for Fire Emblem ever.
Because they released like 2 games.
Yeah, and the special edition gives you 3 versions, which is sort of weird, but the versions, I don't know. I would never be someone to play this game multiple times. And even though, yes, the stories are different, and yes, the levels are different, it sort of feels like playing the same game. The way it works is that the first 6 chapters are the same for everybody. And at that 6th chapter, you make your decision of whether you're going to defend this family, or defend none. And me being me, I couldn't pick a side. So I was like, I'm going to go solo, and I don't want to piss anybody off. None of them seem that great, so I'm going to go on my own. The gameplay is fantastic. I really love Fire Emblem gameplay. It's interesting to like play XCOM 2 and then play this, because they're both, turn-based strategy, but done in like such different ways. XCOM is so much about maneuvering, positioning, cover, the enemy types, and it has a much more dynamic feel. Like XCOM, it is turn-based strategy, but it might as well not be for how I feel dynamic and intense the missions are. Fire Emblem is so much more like
slow
tried
pace.
And true.
Yeah.
And like very much
time.
Characters go down so fast, and I feel like in XCOM, you have the world to sort of cue you in, like, hey, I don't want to run to the middle of this field. But Fire Emblem, there's no cover, right? So like you can move somewhere that you think is a good move, but unless you pay attention to all the radiuses and ranges of all the enemies, like you may have to restart super quick because someone can go down very quickly. But I'm really enjoying it. I kind of miss. I don't know if you ever played Fire Emblem on Game Boy Advance.
Yes.
But like I missed that art style where like the two guys were on screen and it would just be very cartoon, like
yeah,
the pixel graphics of them fighting. Now it's this 3D thing, and you can skip everything, which is kudos to them allowing you. You can either speed up, which is nice by holding A, or you can just press start and totally skip the battle and just see the results. But I kind of miss like that art. I don't know. I thought that art, the art of when they're talking, like the dialogue is that art, and then the battles are 3D, and I'm like, why? Should have just gone with like super high res pixel art. I think that would have been better. But the story is all sorts of insane, and I don't know. I'm a weird person, I guess, in the way that I can't decide if I need to hear the whole story because I'm playing the game, or if I should just skip it because I don't care all that much.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I want to care because it makes the game, especially with something like Fire Emblem with permadeath and stuff, you want to care about the characters and build the relationships and all that. But it's really like, I mean, just to summarize briefly, okay, so girl or boy, whoever you are, gets kidnapped, and you don't know who your real family is, and then there's another person that's kidnapped, and then one of your basically slaves transforms into a dragon and takes you to the dragon dimension, and then you can turn into a dragon, and then you find out there's another dimension that is actually orchestrating all of this madness, but you can't tell anybody because, great conceit here, Gabe, as soon as you step outside this other dimension, if you speak about it, you'll instantly die. So they can't warn anybody about this. Like so goofy anime, but like
sounds like an episode of The Flash.
At the same time, like I do like sort of the Game of Thrones style, like family dynamics and like going back and forth and traders and all that stuff. So far, it's struck a good mix of like anime insanity and whatnot. It is just a little weird, like having the battles be 3D, the maps be 2D sprite pixel artwork, the in-game cutscenes be 3D like the battles, the in-game big cutscenes be all like anime hand-drawn, like and then the character portraits when they talk being
the more traditional sprites. So it seems like a lot of different stuff. Yeah,
which is sort of weird. But it's very high quality, like for sure. I feel like the battles, and I played some Fire Emblem games back on Game Boy Advance, and I don't remember 100%, but I feel like the battles are really a great size right now. Like I can get through one and save and like, okay, that was a good session. They're definitely challenging even early on. I'm just playing on the normal difficulty, and they're pretty hard. Like you have to make sure you're on point.
Oh, so you're not playing on classic?
Because
there's classic and there's the other one that you get made fun of on the YoGAF if you play it.
I'm playing the one that has permadeath, but not the hard mode.
Okay.
Anyhow, so I picked Revelations, and there are a bunch of save slots. So with the special edition version, all 3 versions are on the same cartridge. So you could technically go back and test them out and see what you wanted. But one cool thing they're doing is if you buy it downloadable, you get to that point in chapter 6 and then make your choice, and then it downloads the rest of whichever one you pick, which is kind of cool. Like instead of committing to, I want Birthright or I want Conquest, you get to pick, and then it tells you like, hey, Birthright is basically an easier game that allows you to level up a lot between missions and allows you to communicate more with your teammates. Conquest is the harder game, more traditional Fire Emblem gameplay, less chances to grind and level up. And then Revelations is like a mix between the two. But the cool thing about Revelations and why I picked it, knowing I'm only going to go through once, is that you can like recruit guys from both sides. So there's these 2 warring factions, and in Revelations you can get guys from both sides, weaponry from both sides, and it has the quote true ending.
Yeah.
So
I want to play it, man. I miss playing Fire Emblem. Like you, I played them a lot back on the Game Boy Advance days, but it's been a while. It's been a really long time since I played a proper Fire Emblem game, and just got to find my 3DS, which has been lost for a long time.
Yeah, it's really good. It's not surprising in any way, just because it is very much like Fire Emblem, but now with this dragon thing.
Yeah,
I like it a lot. I sound down on it, but I'm really not. I really enjoyed my time with it, and the only thing I struggle with is like, do I mash through these like long dialogue scenes, or do I pay attention? Because it's kind of interesting and kind of intriguing, and at the same time totally goofy. But I modeled my character. I made my character Becca, and she has cool red hair, and so I can't let her die because that would be just
once she dies, just put the game down, never pick it up again.
There's this weird mechanic where you can call people to your personal quarters. So like you can bring over like the oldest guy in the army to your personal quarters at night, and he'll be like, I really enjoyed this tea with you, or you can bring over like some girl, and like the relationship thing, I don't know, man, pretty Japanese.
Yeah.
They took out some stuff, like there was like petting or something in the game. I don't know.
Yeah,
It was
weird.
pretty weird. So that's Fire Emblem Fates. I am going to play more, and I probably will expand on that into like a video. But it's cool, and like you kind of know if that's your thing or not. It's a hardcore strategy game. I'd say like if you're looking to get into one, I'd say XCOM is more transferable. Like if you're like a first person shooter, that kind of action gamer, just because there's more going on and the battles are more dynamic and exciting. Fire Emblem is very much like JRPG turn based
Yeah, it seems like it's more
style.
dense.
It very much is, and there's a lot of stats and like way more stuff. Like, okay, you can pair these units together. This unit can support this unit, then they both, do this, and you have to be aware of like, okay, axes do more damage. I don't know what it is, but there's axes, lances, and swords. What damages what? But I find that stuff really fun, and I found out through XCOM 2 and Fire Emblem Fates that that's a genre that I really like that I don't hardly play. So like the strategy game stuff has been really high quality and really cool to get two excellent ones. I mean, both XCOM 2 and Fire Emblem reviewed like incredibly well. Although XCOM 2, it seems like the general vibe has gone way down because of performance issues. Like people are super down on the game.
They are, and the PvP stuff people aren't super fond of right now as well. So
Fire Emblem runs perfect. It's cool on the 3DS.
Yeah, it should. It's on the 3DS.
And it's a very cool game. So you have a 3DS. I'm sure it'll overtake Awakening as kind of like the must-play Fire Emblem game.
Yeah.
And the version thing is, it's cool to see games do that. I'm sure for some people it's frustrating, but at the same time, like, imagine if you could play The Last of Us and like, hey, you can do Ellie's story or Joel's story.
Mm-hmm. But why not just give us both stories in one game?
Yeah, but like in this way you can't. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
For at least for this one, you can't take both sides. So they found the least upsetting way to split the game into versions. Anyhow, those are the games we've been playing. Let's jump into games we did play long ago when we had no beards and our souls were cheery.
I was born with this thing on my face.
Were you? You were born with a bearded baby?
Yeah.
The rare bearded baby you were thrown into like a circus and like the one and only bearded baby.
Yeah, that was me.
I was born with a cheery soul, so I still had that. I still have it now.
Yeah.
Do I? Do you think I have a cheery soul?
You have a very cheery soul.
Do you have a cheery soul?
Most of the time.
Most of the time you do. I'm impressed by how cheery your soul. I think that's why we connect.
Yeah. Man, in person, you can't be around us because our cheer will just knock you on your feet. No, opposite of your feet. I was going to say it, but then I didn't want to cuss. It'll knock you down, is what I'm saying.
The only conflict Gabe and I have in person is our walking speeds.
And even that, I'm not that far behind. It's just in general, I can keep up. It's just when we are like at an event and you're running super fast because you're already late. Yeah, you're late. I'm not late.
Yeah, I'm usually the one who's running behind. Yeah. Pokemon, though, 20th anniversary today, I think, right?
Sometime this week.
I think it's actually today because they had their 5-minute Nintendo Direct where they said, guess what? We have a Pokemon game coming out. We're not going to show you anything. Goodbye.
Yeah, you get to see a drawing of Pikachu.
What the heck was that? Like, why even have the announcement? I think it was just like, we have to have the announcement because this is the anniversary. So Pokemon Sun and Moon are coming out this holiday. Here's some concept art of a Machamp in a truck. And here's some concept art of a building that looks like it's from Singapore. Goodbye.
Yeah. No real sense of what the games are going to be, if they're going to be any different, or if it's just, more Pokemon. Is there
any hope that they're different? What percentage, like, how many dollars would you bet that these are different? Like, what Super Bowl odds do you give Sun and Moon?
I wouldn't bet money that this is different at all. I think it's not going to be. But I saw you tweet about this, and I was thinking, I didn't respond, but I said, no one plays every single one of these games, right? Some people do, sure, but they love it and they don't mind. So whatever, make your money off them. But I haven't played a Pokemon game since like what? I can't even remember. That's how long it's been. I don't play them every time because they're
I don't either, but still, it's like if Assassin's Creed was the exact same game every time, but like prettier graphics,
it may or may not. No. It may or may already not be the same game.
Well, that's why it's taking a year off, right?
Yeah.
That's why
Pokemon takes a lot of years off, though.
Yeah, but they don't make any changes after their years off. That's the difference. If Assassin's Creed comes back,
Black and White had some changes.
Okay, like now you can like dress the Pokemon up, or now you can like find them at night. Anyhow, those got announced. But what I wanted to talk about was our first experiences with Pokemon, and just kind of like wax nostalgic a little bit here about one of the most profitable and repetitive and cute franchises in all of video games.
it's my not my, but you know how baby's first like whatever. This is like baby's first RPG. Like this is how I learned what RPGs were really, and how they played for the most part. Even though this wasn't the first RPG I played.
That was the whole reason I got a Game Boy Color was Pokemon Red, and I saved up money and I was waiting. And me and my brother Jake, I got a teal Game Boy Color with Pokemon Red because Charizard obviously over Blastoise.
Yeah.
Who who was your first starter before I continue the story?
Charizard. I mean, not Charizard. Charmander. Sorry.
Good. Okay, I was gonna say if there's anybody else, couldn't even continue this conversation.
Yeah, no.
Jake got a yellow Game Boy Color with Pokemon Blue, and I remember playing that so much. First handheld game I ever played, and I convinced Jake to trade me his Blastoise for a Kingdra, which was
you robbed him.
Well, Kingdra was I had like a level 60 Kingdra, and I got his like level 40 Blastoise, so I was
but you know a Blastoise isn't as easy. I mean, a Blastoise is harder to get than a Kingdra.
Yeah.
You could go
especially
get
back then.
Yeah.
And my bigger experience though was with the card game. Like that's where my Pokemon fandom lied.
I was so into the cards. I've talked about this place before. This place is called Top Video, right near me. When I was growing up, I used to walk on over there, and I rented Red like 10 times in a row. I keep telling them, "Hey, I'll pay you later. I'll pay you later." I've mentioned this before, but that was how my
delete your save file or someone else overwrite it.
I skipped school twice.
Oh, man. That's right. We talked about this.
Yeah. So yeah, Pokemon has a special place in my heart, man. I would go into the park. There's a park right near there, and there's a bench. I would just go sit under the bench all day, so that my
parents would, bench.
Yeah,
not even on it.
No, under because I've told you. I think I've told you this. We lived right across the street from the school I went to, like literally across the street. Not a big street. It's a
you
small
didn't want to be
street.
obvious.
Yeah, and I'm skipping. So if my grandma goes outside, she's gonna see me. So I have to go to the furthest bench, hide under it, you know, with my back towards her, so they didn't know it was me. And that's how my early Pokemon days started. And then we got super into the cards.
Yeah, the cards were so like that. The fervor around the first wave, and when I got my first Charizard, like I called all my friends on my dad's cell phone, like told them I got a Charizard. I got it at a Walgreens on the way home from my uncle's house. And I was like legit dancing.
I got all my Pokemon cards at a swap meet, and you know, I've told you I was a crappy little kid. I used to steal them, because look, they used to sell them like in singles, right? Like so you wanted like a holographic card, you know, you could buy it in singles, and I would tell them, hey, can I look at that one? And they would hand it to me. They would send another customer. So I would. No. I would. What I would do is I would put like more cards on the back of that sleeve, and it still like looked like it was one card. And I would say, hey, I want this one. And like I'm paying for one card, but then I actually have like 2 or 3 more behind it.
Okay, the Pokemon karma is gonna come back to you.
Yeah,
Sun and Moon are gonna steal all your Pokemon. My worst Pokemon memory is that I had just gotten a bunch of cards and I brought them into school. Huge mistake.
Yeah.
So I got a Blastoise finally, which was one I was really trying to get. And someone stole my Blastoise, Venusaur, Mewtwo, and something else. And I knew who this kid was because he was in my class. And the next day What?
Did you beat him up?
No, let me finish the story. I did it in much more of a Zach way.
Okay.
So the next day, I come into school super sad, and this other kid named Joey, his name is Joey Toland, Toeland, which is Toland is just like not the place you want to be. So he has the exact same cards that I lost, and he was like, coincidence, and I was like, cheater, stealer, bad. And so I was so upset. I asked the teacher if I could make an announcement. I got up in front of the class, and I said, hey, I lost these cards. If anyone has seen them or stole them, could you please put them in my cubby? I was in 4th grade, but I was a 3rd grader because I skipped a year. And so I was like 9 years old, 8, 9, and I said, 8 years old. Can you please put them in my cubby by the end of the day? You don't even have to say who you are. You don't have to like reveal it. You can do it in secret. I don't even care. I just really want them back because it cost me a lot of my own money. And the kid never put them back.
Man, look how different our childhood was. I was over here stealing Pokemon cards, and you were over there just so righteous.
You know, making
an announcement about, you know, please just return these. I don't care. I won't call the cops.
And then, so no one returned them. So then I asked for a meeting with the teacher, and I said, her name was Diana. And we called her teacher.
You meeting with the teacher, Zach.
Hold up. So I said Diana, because we call her teacher by her first name. It was a weird private school. I said, Diana, I said, I know Joey took my cards. And she said, oh no, I've known Joey for years. He's a good person. He wouldn't do that. And I was like, Diana, like, I know he took them. Ask him to show you his cards. He has the same cards. And she's like, maybe he just got them. And I was like, and then I did not like Diana ever again. Ooh. And we had some battles, me and Diana, after that.
I'm sure. Man, it's such a stark contrast in what our childhoods were. I used to hide my Pokemon cards in a crawl space because I was very young at the time, and these were very very valuable to me.
Right.
Anybody to get them. I had little cousins that would come around all the time, and they always wanted to see them. So I would go in the crawl space, and I had them in a binder, and I would put them down there. And nobody knew where they were. They might still be down there. I don't know.
That would be amazing. I also, when the Fossil series, because it went
Yeah.
the OG, then it went Jungle and Fossil. When the Fossil series came out, I was on a field trip at a geology museum, and my dad was chaperoning, and I was like, Dad, this is really boring. And I said, Fossil comes out today, so can we just please go to the card store? And so we snuck out of the geology museum and went to the card store and bought a bunch of packs, and then just showed up back at the school when everyone else was supposed to be back. And we're like, nothing happened. We didn't do anything. So I could get the fossil packs and try to go for my Kabutops and my what's the flying bird from Fossil? Starts with an A. You know what I'm talking about, right? Aerodactyl.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite Pokemon?
Red card, huh?
Who was your favorite Pokemon, or some of your favorites?
I like Machamp, or I don't know how you pronounce it. Yeah. I used to always say Machamp.
Yeah,
I like him a lot. I always had a soft spot for Squirtle. I think Squirtle's very cute.
I really like Charizard. And then
what was the name of that dragon? He's like a sea dragon. He the evolution of Magikarp. Yeah, I like Gyarados. He always looked very cool as well.
I was a big Espeon fan, which is the night evolution, or the psychic evolution, I guess, of Eevee. All
of Eevee's evolutions were so cool.
Yeah, that was a great.
I like Vulpix.
I liked. Who else did I like? My first ever holographic was Poliwrath. That's what I got in my first pack.
Yeah.
So I had a soft spot for him. I never really played the game that much. Did you ever play like the actual like?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, we did.
Battled out with the little like chips and the prizes and all that stuff that you get.
Hey, it was intense, man. It was intense.
They ended up banning Pokemon cards from my school because it was getting too crazy with trading.
Same here. Pokemon cards are I think the reason that my local comic shop still exists, because I remember at the time overhearing them saying like, hey, we might have to close down. Like comics aren't doing so hot these days. But then Pokemon cards came along, and that's where everybody got their Pokemon cards, besides like the swap meets and stuff. Right. But everybody would go to this one comic shop. It was called Myth Adventures, and everybody got their Pokemon cards there. And they're still in business now. And I think that these Pokemon cards got them over that slump, and they're doing good now.
They've gotten super cool since. I don't know if you've ever seen into recent packs, but like they have cards that like the picture takes up the whole card, or it's like coming out of the foil. Like they've gotten really cool and really intense.
I've seen a couple of unboxings of these more recent ones, just because I saw Oliver.
Master
yeah. He had done it, so I saw some of that, and I was like, "Whoa, these things are so different now."
My favorite artist was I think his name was Ken Sujimari. He was the artist that did the best art on the original Pokemon cards. So shout out to him. Did you ever play like Pokemon Stadium or the console Pokemon games?
Yeah, I love Pokemon Stadium, man.
Jake loved that game, and what was crazy about Stadium was I paid $70 for that.
Those Nintendo 64 cartridges were so expensive
because it came with the expansion pack.
Yeah,
so you could transfer your guys.
No, and, wasn't it required to play it?
The expansion pack was, but then it also it was a separate. They also had like the controller expansion where you could stuff the Game Boy cartridge.
And then the Rumble pack that was also, if you wanted that. Man, those controllers got pretty like weird
with all the attachments and things. Yeah. But yeah, I had another friend named Ben, and he had a mullet, and
he still does somewhere
probably. And this was like the same year, so I was still in like 4th grade or maybe 5th grade by now. And he came over, and he had cheated on his Game Boy game, and so he had level 99 of everything. And so he transferred a bunch of level 99 guys to my Pokemon Stadium game. So I was just tearing through everything. Becca's over here being like, I did that too. I cheated too.
Yeah. Me and Becca, we're the corrupt souls around here. But yeah, even Pokemon Snap was another big one
that was a cool game.
That I enjoyed a lot. Pokemon had a big part of my life. Not that it, I don't think it altered it in any way, really, but I think it had an impact in everybody's life. Once you're around that age, 3rd through like maybe 5th grade,
right?
I don't know anyone that didn't like Pokemon at some point.
Did you really like the TV show, or?
No, the TV show I didn't get into as much. I would watch it when it was on like Toonami or whatever.
I would watch it. I watched it like most of them, but the thing that like struck me years later about Pokemon is like how horrible of a mom Ash's mom is, that this 10-year-old boy is just like exploring the entire globe, and she's just like, go do it.
He's 10 forever. That's another thing. I don't know about all this. The cartoon I couldn't get into as much, but the card game and the video games I really
I'm excited for Pokken Tournament.
Me too. It's
coming. I'm hoping that I have a review code either by next show or by the lovely live episode 4.
Yeah, we really should. We're serious, I think, about that. By the way, we might
We
do
are.
episode 4. Yeah, we're
Episode 4 is gonna be live, and we'll make someone rich, and hopefully we'll talk about Pokken Tournament because that game comes out March 18th, and episode 4 will, in theory, be on
March 26th. Not quite. I mean, maybe it depends on how early they get them out.
March. What episode 4? Okay, March 10th would be episode 4, so we should have it by then.
Hopefully.
I hope so. I hope it's actually more fun than like the Dragon Ball Z or the Naruto games.
It seems like it is, or from the people that have played it.
It seems good.
Yeah, for sure.
So I am excited about that. Hopefully, Sun and Moon brings something new. I saw some people talking about, like, do you think Sun and Moon are going to be dual NX 3DS titles?
Man, that would be interesting. That would be. I don't know if they do it. I think they really, really want to keep Pokemon on, RPGs on handhelds.
But what if it was on the NX handheld?
True. Hey, I guess it's possible. There's all these leaks. We won't get into NX this week. I think maybe
we'll do that next week.
Yeah, but there's a lot of these leaks about NX that every day I feel more and more like, okay, yeah, it's probably coming this year. I still wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't, but it's probably coming.
It's happening this year. If it doesn't, I will be sad. There are two things that can go very wrong for me, and that's Nintendo at E3 and the Detroit Lions season. And we can't have both of them every year.
Will go wrong, man.
No, both of them go wrong every year. So this is the year that one of them.
No,
has to
I know.
Right.
If Megatron really leaves, which again, he's not officially retired. We know all this, but man, we'll leave the NFL stuff for another time. I am keeping an eye on the combine though. They were measuring everybody's hands yesterday. Ooh. A lot of big hands out there.
I'm very handsome, so if they measured my hands, they'd probably. They might not be the biggest hands, but they would be like, wow, those are some hands.
Yeah.
News bites, Gabriel. Moving along. Okay. Before I have to go live stream with White Boy 7th Street. My news bite for this week is that Take-Two said they are going to be at E3 in a big way.
That has to mean one of two things: BioShock or Borderlands. I think those are the two that.
What about Red Dead?
I don't know, man. I know Take-Two, they do the Rockstar stuff. Rockstar traditionally just does their own thing. So I don't know.
Big way. Like, okay.
BioShock is big.
BioShock is big. That's my hope. My hope is that it's BioShock. But I can't see it being Borderlands because Battleborn comes out in May. There's no way Gearbox is just like, bye-bye, Battleborn. Let's talk about Borderlands. I think it can't be that.
Why not? Announce it and release it March of next year.
But why steal the hype? Don't you think they're going to talk about... Becca's like, they're saying they're coming E3 in a big way because it's going to be big daddies for BioShock.
Maybe, except the last BioShock. The last BioShock didn't even have big daddies.
The last BioShock didn't have big daddies, Gabe says.
So?
Why is Becca not on the show? You messed up.
Yeah, we need to have Becca on the show at some point.
For episode 4, she'll be here live. Probably not, by the way. I don't know. She'll even be around.
Episode 5, she'll be... Oh, that's my news. Remember we talked about this?
Oh, yeah. What was it?
She's moving into Indiana with me.
What? She's taking over my basement, Zach?
No, she's not taking over my basement. She's taking over my room.
Okay.
I'm not putting her in the basement. I know that's how you treat your women, but I'm not putting her down there.
Okay. So
I already have all my slaves down there. Yeah, you can have the basement.
All right, cool.
But yeah, she's moving in around episode 4 or 5.
Oh, if she's there for episode 4, man, we gotta have her on.
So then we can potentially have a third host, or at least I can get food while I record.
I've told you that we gotta have Beck on the show before.
I know, and so a couple people commented that we should have her on, so we will. She can. She was at the event yesterday. She played Quantum Break, so
yeah,
and so that'll be fun. I think it will probably be Red Dead 2 if I had to put my money on it.
I don't know, man. I think BioShock.
I hope it is. I don't want to get excited for that. What if it's like Telltale BioShock?
Telltale needs to stop.
I would literally fly away from E3.
Did you play The Walking Dead? Because we can talk about that quickly.
I started. I wanted to wait till next week just because I haven't finished it. If you want to just talk about it briefly, go for it.
I'm so disappointed. Telltale needs to stop. They must be stopped. I get it. People like their games and they make quote unquote good games, even though they run like crap most of the time. They gotta stop, man. Take a moment. Get a new engine going. Make these games look different. I don't know.
Do something different, please.
Yeah. And by something different, I don't mean just get another large property that you're going to make a game out of.
Well, they've got Batman. They've got Marvel.
They have Avengers. They have Batman coming. Theoretically, we're going to get Game of Thrones. We're getting season 3 of Walking Dead this year. We're getting the rest of this. I don't know if we're going to get more Wolf Among Us, but
more Game of Thrones.
We're going to get another Borderlands probably because that was super successful. God, man.
Stop doing it. I don't think it could be GTA because that's like way too soon.
No,
it could be GTA DLC.
Which that seems like it's too late for that.
But it would still sell like
a
million copies.
I don't know.
Max Payne because Remedy is all in on Quantum Break.
Yeah, but Remedy hasn't had anything to do with Max Payne for a long time. Max Payne 3 was all Take Two, so
that's why I have you here to catch my mistakes.
Yeah. That it feels like a BioShock.
I just don't want to get hyped. Because remember, I got excited about BioShock with Project Advent and the whole XCOM thing. And like XCOM 2 is great. I really like it, surprisingly. But like I don't want to I'm not going to go all in on BioShock. And I'm really good friends with 2K. So maybe I'm just going to like send them secret notes, pass them notes every day and be like, is it BioShock?
Yeah.
Is Mafia 3 going to be out before E3?
I think we get Mafia 3 this year. I don't know if it'll be out before E3.
I don't think that's enough to call your show big, though.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Mafia 3 is like a B or C tier property.
I wouldn't say that, but
you think it's an A tier property?
Yeah, maybe not AAA, but it's A.
Okay. Well, I was saying like ABC, not
it's definitely
AA, AAA. So it's still as third tier, like I was trying to imply.
It's not C. It's not C. I don't think so. Maybe
tell
B
us,
tier.
Tell us about The Division.
Okay. What do you think about the no microtransactions thing, which is going in the complete opposite way of what other Ubisoft games are doing? Because Rainbow Six very microtransaction heavy.
Mm-hmm.
What else have they done recently? Okay, I can't remember, but still,
Rainbow Six. A lot of games that have been really.
Yeah.
I mean,
but here they're saying no microtransactions at all, which I think is a fantastic move. Ubisoft, man, they're turning the ship around. It really seems like it.
Well, let's wait until they actually have a game that comes out.
They just had Far Cry.
Okay, so Far Cry was good.
Plus, they put no Assassin's Creed this year. They're making good moves. That's what I mean by they're turning things around.
That's fine.
Who knows what the quality of these games are going to be, but the moves that they're making are good. The new IP that's coming that may or may not have been like accidentally revealed. There's going to be a new IP. I don't know if it's out this year. It might be their big fall thing besides Ghost Recon and whatever else.
Watch Dogs too.
Yeah, Watch Dogs, but Watch Dogs might be like March of next year or something. We don't know that
and
yet.
We're supposed to still get For Honor at some point. That seems like a September type game, August or September.
And we had fun when we played that. So
that's super fun. Yeah, I mean they're doing good stuff. I think The Division, like to me, it's more like, hey, let's go a super microtransaction heavy game with Rainbow Six. Let's go a non microtransaction game with Division and see what
sticks,
see what makes money and see what sticks, and
okay,
then employ that for AC and Watch Dogs and Ghost Recon and all that.
Yeah, the reason I wanted to bring up The Division is I wanted to gauge your interest in it because it's coming in a couple of weeks. We'll have it very soon.
Probably next show.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll be able to talk about it though. But the game releases on March 8th,
right?
And so we're gonna get our hands on it soon. How excited are you for it?
My excitement for The Division has ebbed and flowed tremendously. Like from super low because they didn't know what they were doing to super high because it was coming together to super high again after playing the beta to super low after playing it for hours. My concern is just the variety. To me, it seems like the highlight of that game that people keep hyping about is the Dark Zone, which is just like the same reason people like GTA Online. Like, you just go around, kill people, and like make funny moments.
I wouldn't. I don't know. I wouldn't compare those two. I don't think they're super similar.
There's just I don't know how much content's going to be there. Like the guns don't seem that different or diverse. So like leveling up to me doesn't hold a lot of weight. There's only 10 or 11 missions.
Single player missions.
Right. Yeah. I'm just concerned about variety. And then if people are all spending their time in that Dark Zone, like it's just one environment. It's not even like there's multiple maps.
Well, yeah, but there's different sections of like the Dark Zone that we've seen in the betas or whatever. That's not all there is to the Dark Zone. There is different areas that are more high level.
Sure, but
they might not look super different because it's still on New York City.
Right.
But there are different areas. Who knows how they differentiate those? Higher level areas, higher loot drop, sure. But
my biggest thing is like the loot. I wish it had variety because to me, like I played an end game mission. And the starting game missions versus the end game missions, like the guns are like an assault rifle or an assault rifle. And sure, it deals more damage, but the enemies are also stronger. So therefore, the beginning of the game felt exactly like the end of the game because your weapons are stronger, but the enemies are, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I'd say I'm a 5 out of 10 if you want to get
on excitement level. Yeah. I'm a little bit higher. I think I'm like a 7. I'm excited to see how it turns out because my hope, and I could be wrong, is that they're holding back a lot. They don't want to show a lot. They had the 2 betas. This last one was public. Yes, it was a new, it was a different story mission than the one we had previously. I didn't play that at all. I made a conscious decision to just avoid this latest beta because the stuff that is new in that I'd rather just experience everything when the full game's out. We're so close. I saw no point in that second beta other than just to
open more
maybe
people
test.
up. Yeah.
Yeah,
Servers.
test server issues, I guess. But yeah, I want to see what the final game's gonna be like. This is gonna be like a staple in Ubisoft's franchise drawer going forward. Like, are they gonna be able to
Division
grow?
2, 3, 4. Yeah.
Yeah, if they can grow this the way that maybe Destiny should have been grown,
Or is this?
completely
Go ahead.
completely different areas, like what go to a different borough in New York, right? Well, I don't know the setting exactly, but why not go to Queens or Brooklyn?
Right.
How are those areas affected? Again, I don't know how that plays into the whole story of how this is, or maybe this one area is the only quarantined one. I don't know.
Right. Or is it their Destiny in the sense that they don't make a sequel and they just give you like, hey, we've unlocked a new chunk of the city. Hey,
yeah, we'll do that for like a year or two before the next one's ready, because that's what they did with Destiny.
Right.
Yeah, poorly implemented. Destiny has gone down so much as far as people's mind shares and
hype and enthusiasm. All
yeah,
of that. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think they really screwed the pooch there, to use a weird term.
Don't do that to the pooch.
Yeah, no, do not do that to the pooch.
All right, so the Division E3 going to be here before we know it, but right now we have emails, Gabriel. Okay. And that is where you write us something on your computer or your phone or your tablet. And then
you play with Velcro.
And you send it to hellosupercast@gmail.com and we read it and talk about it. And we are opening up the floodgates for any and all kinds of emails.
If you want to ask us about your pooch and how to treat them,
yeah,
we can answer that.
All right. So for this week's emails, we have quite a few. And the first one is about Division and Destiny. So it's a great starting place. This one comes in from our good friend, Generic Gamer.
First email ever.
Yes.
Okay.
And he says, hi, Ghost and Gabe. Love the podcast and hearing your opinions on games and other things. I think you guys are great. Before I ask my question, I want to tell you something about myself.
Tell me.
So I used to play Destiny a lot, and I still think that Destiny is a great game, but I stopped playing not too long ago. I love the idea of Destiny being an MMO, RPG, and a shooter, so playing the Division beta really made me happy that it's like Destiny. My question to you is this. With the lackluster content currently plaguing the Destiny scene, do you think the Division will capitalize on this and take over some or a good chunk of the Destiny fan base? Should the Division be the game that I invest a lot of time in? Be honest, do you think it will end up being as basically big and cool as Destiny?
I don't know. 6 million people played the beta, this latest one, so that's a lot of people.
Right.
How much of that is going to translate over to sales? I don't know. Was the impression that people got from it a positive one? I think so. Based off conjecture and forums and, basically just NeoGAF. People seem pretty positive. People seem excited. Reviewers are starting to get really excited for it as well. So I think a lot of it's going to have to do with critical reception. And not that always matters, but with a game like this, I think people are going to play, they're going to have a wait and see attitude where they want to see how it's supported. Maybe the people that are going to be there on day one, they're going to be there on day one. But the thing that Destiny had over this, they had a leg up in the fact that that's Bungie.
Legacy,
they had a legacy where, they've done top-notch multiplayer for a long time. They've done story for a really long time, right. And they know how to do it well. And it didn't translate to Destiny in the best way, I think. So this being completely new, it's like Destiny, but the Division being, what was that?
What is exciting? What's happening?
Nothing. You can't watch. You can't watch.
Okay. Sorry, clapping at friends on TV for some reason.
Okay, did Joey just kiss someone? I don't
even know.
All right, sorry, but I don't even remember what I was saying. But this is structurally similar to Destiny, but the fact that it's third person.
Do you think the fact that it has like generic setting and people also like is cool space guys fighting aliens?
Yeah, but you don't even see the people in Destiny, so I don't
know. But
you
see the aliens. You see the planets.
Yeah, but the enemies are mad boring. The planets are boring. Those
I'm just talking about like on like a mind share thing. Like, hey, that's a lot cooler of a proposition than like come fight in New York. We've got homeless people.
Look at Call of Duty. Military shooters do just fine.
All right.
So, yeah.
If you were worried about content of Destiny, I'd be worried about the Division with content, but we shall see. Surprise us.
I think there's going to be more content in the Division than there originally was in Destiny. I think I could say that and feel pretty good about it.
10 missions.
Yeah, that's more than Destiny.
Destiny had way more than 10.
No, they had no.
Plus strikes and raids and
the same strikes, same raids. Again, similar problems, I think, but You know, hopefully they get worked out. Yeah.
Yeah, we shall see. Ghost Lion writes in saying, "Hello, Gabe and Ghost. Andrew here." So he's two-timing as Ghost Lion and Andrew. Longtime fan of you guys and your podcast. My question is, what are your thoughts on review copies and how they are being more and more handed out? I also want to start getting review copies, so any advice? Just to tell you the advice part, like, it's strictly just based on if you have a YouTube channel. It's not because like anything else really.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think you need to have a decent size to get from the majors. Like EA isn't just going to give you a copy. Ubisoft isn't just going to give you a copy like of the Division just because you have a YouTube channel with like 10 subs on it. You know what I mean?
Right. And they are being more lax in terms of giving more and more review copies out earlier and earlier.
Certain ones, certain companies, certain games, of course.
Yeah.
It all depends.
Do you think that's a good thing for like gamers or a bad thing?
I don't know. It's a terrible thing for YouTube.
Yeah.
But you know, for gamers, I don't know if it matters all that much. I think anybody that wants to just start a YouTube channel to get review copies, they're not going to have a whole lot of luck.
For sure.
I think you still got to produce the right content. And even let's say Ubisoft gives you a review copy for the Division.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't see your content as worth them shipping you a game early, and when you get games early, you have to be not honorable, but you got to follow embargo, and you know some big people already don't. But if you're a tiny channel, what incentive do you have to follow embargo? Maybe you just wanted to get the Division early, and now you got it, and bam, now you burn that bridge with Ubisoft. And I don't know. I think it's tricky. I think the perception of review copies being more and more available is just that. It's just perception, because smaller games are given to smaller YouTubers a lot more, right? But something like Zelda, right? The HD remake that's coming out or whatever. I asked a little bit too late, so I didn't get a copy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you got to have an audience of some kind to get a game like that. The Division, again.
I mean, ultimately, it doesn't really change much of anything. The game still comes out the day it comes out for the average consumer. The only thing that it does is for smaller games, it gives
more of an audience
exposure and an audience to games that normally would just pass by on Steam.
Superhot's a good example.
Yeah, given out to a lot of YouTubers, it gets the exposure and the coverage that it needs to really make a dent, in sort of the gaming sphere. The only issue, like, I think it poses on a negative spectrum is something like The Order, where one person then beats the game in 5 hours, and it gets like very negative buzz, super early on from one person.
But even with that wasn't a review copy that was sent out. That was somebody just somehow got it early.
True, but just things like that can happen in the sense of buzz can be shut down or raised. And I guess that's the other negative I would say is yes, as a consumer you get to see the footage, but in general YouTubers are not going to cover a review copy of a game super negatively. So they're going to
sometimes if the game's bad, and a lot of people say it.
Yeah, but for walkthrough people, the thing is just be positive about games.
Sure. But I was very open. I got a review copy for the Walking Dead mission. I got 2 extra ones, by the way. Mm-hmm. I gave one out, and the one that you gave me, and then the other one that Telltale gave me. So I ended up with 3 copies. So I gave one out. I still have one.
They really want you to love that game.
Yeah, and I was very open about me not liking that game at all.
Right.
I
just think more from the standpoint of hey, let's say Far Cry Primal was really bad, and a bunch of people got Far Cry Primal really early, and they're wanting to make their videos good and wanting to play it, and so then people see it and wow, they're really enjoying it, and then not really the accurate.
Far Cry Primal, for example, we had it a week and a half early. We had it really early, right? It allowed us to get content ready for embargo, which was also early. The review embargo was a good amount of days before the game actually came out.
Right.
So that allowed us to do that. And Far Cry Primal wasn't a game that they just sent out to just anybody. I think you had to have a certain type of audience. It didn't have to be the biggest, but or at least a relationship with Ubisoft. I think that helped it out a lot because,
for sure,
if the game was bad, I think people would have said it was bad. You would have seen a whole lot of videos saying, "Oh, this is like Assassin's Creed Unity all over again, where everything's just running terrible, faces are melting off." But since Far Cry Primal was good, it gave people that wanted to make good content the ability to do so and have it out early and get the good word of mouth going. I think if Far Cry Primal sells well, it's going to be because of word of mouth. It's not going to be because of the Far Cry name.
For sure, and that is definitely true. The saying that all attention is good attention, all exposure is good exposure, or all publicity is good publicity. That's kind of where I think more and more companies are like, hey, if we spread this around, some people are going to like it, some people are going to play it a lot. And the only company that really doesn't care about that is Sony. They don't seem to really send much out at all. They have like very low relations with YouTubers or new media. But maybe that
even and it's being worked on,
hopefully.
Yeah,
we shall see. Raymond writes in the next question saying, Dear Zach and Gabe, longtime fan here, love the show, keep up the good work. Anyways, I want to talk about some games I'm excited for in 2016, so here it goes. My most excited anticipated game was kind of hard to pick because I haven't had that incredible buzz for any of the major games this year. So I decided to go with the game I think will be the most fun, and that's Doom. There are two reasons for this. One, I thought the single-player gameplay looked very brutal and very intense, but also two, I got to take part in the closed alpha, and all I'll say was that I was very pleased with what I played. The game I'm surprisingly excited for is the new Zelda game. The reason I say surprising is because I've never actually played a Zelda game, nor have I had much interest in the series. And then in parentheses, I am so sorry. However, the open world gameplay looks really cool. I'm a big fan of Skyrim and Witcher 3 and hoping that the open, lush environments will remind me of that. Next is different because this is a game that hasn't been announced, but I believe will be announced, and that is Red Dead Redemption 2/Red Dead 3. Long note aside, I'm excited for Red Dead 3 because I find the whole Red Dead universe to be interesting, and Rockstar a good developer, so I'd love another Red Dead game. Let me know what you guys think of those three titles. He also mentioned Cyberpunk, but that's so far off. We don't really know a whole lot of that. But Doom, we talked about Red Dead, Zelda a lot, but what about Doom? That's coming out before E3. Will that game, it's Bethesda published, it's a storied franchise, but does that make any dent? Or do you think it's not Call of Duty, it's not Battlefield, so not going to be popular?
I think the franchise alone, is it holds some weight. I think Doom was one of like the first like big shooters on PC that people gravitated towards and said, okay, this is what shooters can be now. Right. So it has a legacy in place, and if the game is good, if the people that loved the older Dooms are out there saying, okay, this Doom is really good. Let's say Giant Bomb, for instance. Let's say everybody really loves that Giant Bomb.
Right.
These websites have such a large base that I think they hold a good amount of sway. Bethesda's pretty good about sending review copies. If they send it out to a bunch of YouTubers and YouTubers are making really cool content and get people excited for it, I think it could do well. Yeah. Will it sell what Call of Duty sells? Hell no. But is selling 1 million copies successful? Maybe.
I think it looks super cool. I'm a little worried about the intense gore. That was up to like hugely in the last trailer. Like, crushing heads, slaughtering bodies.
Yeah, but look at our society. We love that stuff. So
I'm excited for it. I think it'll be fun to play. The gameplay looks incredibly fast-paced, incredibly like refined, spot on. So I hope it controls as well as it looks. It looks beautiful. So I'm definitely one I'm excited for in May. I think it's mid-May. It got announced.
Yeah.
May is a big month. Mirror's Edge, Battleborn, Doom, and probably
Deus Ex is in June, but I want it to be May.
Got moved to August.
Oh, did it?
So it's after E3.
Oh, okay. That's fine. I don't mind.
A little sad. I thought it would be a great E3 game to play. Like, as we're sitting there watching press conferences, we could just use our bionic powers and become...
What was the other one? Zelda?
We talked about Zelda.
I'm not excited for anything else as much as I am for Zelda.
Horizon? Less than Zelda?
Yeah. For different reasons. I think Zelda just has such a place in my heart, and that's never going to change.
For sure. We got some emails about the NX, but I'm going to table those till next week. And wrap.
Wait, what else did he said 3 games. He said Doom, Zelda, and
Red Dead 2, but we kind of talked about that coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to table the NX email for next week. And if you guys have any NX questions or theories or whatever, send those in. But wrap up with an email from Sam, and it's about life. He says, hey guys, I'm Sam. I'm 17, writing from England. Zach and Gabe, what I've noticed about you guys is you're always so positive and so full of life. I know you probably have bad days as much as anyone, but my question is, what in your life changed to make you such a fun, alive, happy person? I struggle with social anxiety and been feeling very down a lot lately, attending a new college, and I struggle with being around so many different people at once. It's hard sometimes, but I always try my best to be me. People say I brighten their day and have a unique personality. However, I feel like I'm losing it with all this negativity and depression and anxiety, so I wondered how you cope because I don't know how. Thanks for taking the time to read this long paragraph. You're awesome, and your personality and character inspires me. Sam.
I think I could start with this one because, I recently even made a video about just like my anxieties lately. And
Right.
yeah, we all have bad days. And I said in the video, like, I'm one of the more positive people I know. At least I feel that way.
For sure.
But yeah, there is bad days. And the way I cope with them, and I'm not saying that just because he's here, because she's here, but people like Zach, people like Lucy, people that, are genuinely nice. Like Zach is like one of the nicest people I know. Lucy, she's the best woman I know. And just being around people like that, be around stuff that makes you happy. If school is making you anxious or whatever, do what you got to do at school, then dip out, go hang out with your friends. And it's hard because I know we don't always control our thoughts, and sometimes we let them sort of control us instead. I'll get a thought stuck in my head, and that's all I'm thinking about all day, and we want to fix it, but honestly, just be what you want. Like, if you want the world to be a nicer, more positive place, be more positive, be more nice, make an extra effort, say please and thank you, or open someone's door for them. Just something that simple.
Pull someone,
yeah, pull someone's hair and throw them in a canoe. You know what I mean? So, I really believe that you can become what you want the world to become. If you're that, and if everybody lived that way, if everybody wants the world to be this beautiful, positive place, do your part by you being that. And that's how I try to live.
Spot on. Yeah, it is tricky, and obviously the more stressors you have in your life, the more difficult it becomes. But I would say take a three-headed approach, and that would be focus, action, and letting go. One, where you place your focus is a huge deal. So if you're focusing on all the negatives things, if you're focusing on how much you're stressed out, how anxious you are, it sure is important, but all that's going to do is continue that cycle. So what I've tried to do is, okay, I'm feeling very stressed about this. I'm feeling very anxious about this. This isn't going well. Where can I place my focus that's going to pull me forward, move me forward, help me to get in the mind space that I want to be in to then better those things that aren't going so well? Because the more you focus on what's not going well, the more it's going to not go well. And the more you focus on, okay, what is going well? What can I do about that? Then you have a chance. Taking action, doing stuff. The worst thing for being anxious or depressed or sad or negative is just
doing nothing
and festering in that negativity. Whether it's, going to visit your friends, hanging out with your family, reading a book you like, playing a game you like, getting outside is huge. People nowadays don't see the sun, it seems like, for days at times. So being outside, slowing things down a little bit, and taking action steps that don't have to be like, oh God, I got to do all my papers super fast, or oh God, I have to make this money, but do something to sort of get yourself out of that rut. And then the third is letting go. So many people hold on to stuff for so long. If you're upset about something, communicate with the person you're upset about. Try to have a conversation, even if it doesn't go well. At least you made your best effort. Don't hold on to things. If you're worried about someone or frustrated or not sure or confused, just talk to them. Like, have communication, and don't let little things become big things. Let them go as quickly as you can, and don't hold grudges. If someone's mean to you or mad at you, realize they're probably having a tough day. Move on. If someone says something that seems harsh, remember it's about them and not about you, and try not to let it totally, throw your mind for this huge downward spiral. But in general, it's not always like, oh, there's one true trick for everybody. But for the most part, the things we said, I think, can be applied in terms of surround yourself with good people, place your thoughts on positive things, and then take action to try to make that all come together.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Don't worry if, like, you just can't seem to get out of it. And this is just more on everybody's personal beliefs, but I think that things are going to end up the way that they're going to end up, and there's not a whole lot we can do about it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So once that really makes me feel calm sometimes. Like, sometimes I'm awake in the middle of the night, like, damn, like things aren't so good right now. But, I sit there and think, like, hey, things are going to work out the way they're meant to work out. Right. And nothing that I'm like basically killing myself thinking about is going to change it.
That's the other thing. Like, you only live once, so no one's going to care if you were sad. Like, it sounds harsh, but just from a standpoint of, like, the world doesn't care if you're depressed and laying there doing nothing. The world's not going to come to you and give you like a great job, or give you $1 million, or give you a bunch of fun things to do. Like, at the end of the day, it's your life, and you can either be pissed and sad about it or happy and positive about it.
Yeah.
I think that covers it.
Yeah. And again, it's such a hard thing to talk about because, we're all very different. Mm-hmm. And there isn't you said it, you touched on it, but there's not a set solution for everyone. So what works for us might not work for you. If you can, I don't know how healthcare is over there, but I think seeing a professional about it is a great idea. I would totally do it if I could.
Yeah, talk to a counselor.
There's no shame in that, and it doesn't even have to be a professional. Just find someone that you relate to.
Mm-hmm.
I vent a lot towards Zach, and sometimes I feel like he vents some stuff towards me.
Absolutely.
And I can speak for me. It helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
There we go. Sam, thank you for being honest and writing in. The rest of you, write in hellosupercast@gmail.com, and maybe we'll pull your letter out of a hat, out of my virtual phone hat.
I can take off this hat. We can pull them out.
We can just put all the emails into your hat. I'll print them off and mail them to you.
Big hat.
We'll have them sent by horse and buggy all the way to Texas.
Perfect.
Until that time, though, guys and girls, next week we will be back with episode 3, talking about Quantum Break, Below, Dark Souls 3, a big show. And we will be 1 week closer to episode 4, where you can review the podcast on iTunes and win 200.
SoundCloud reviews help too, I think.
Just
reviews anywhere you're
listening.
listening.
Comment, do something, be awesome. Tell your mom about it. Write a letter. Make an announcement at school. Buy a megaphone and shout it to the streets.
No, here's what you do. You ask for the teacher. You ask your teacher if you can make an announcement, right? And you say, everybody, you got to go listen to this podcast. Leave a review on iTunes. It's super important. You guys got us up to number 8 last week, which is awesome.
Find 200 of your closest friends and then split the $200 with them. Then you have 200 times the likelihood of winning. Okay. And then you each get $1 and it's a party. You can, then, okay. So it seems like you're just spreading the money so thin, but then you all bring it together for a big 200-person party.
A $200 pizza party. You just get a whole bunch of...
Get a bunch of pizza. You may not have a slice for everyone, but some people probably won't be hungry. Yeah. So it's okay. And just share it. And make sure you don't put it in your backpack because it's a mess. Oh. That'll do it for this week. Everybody, thank you for joining. Make sure you can find us almost everywhere. Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, in real life this week and in Santa Ana, California. I don't even know where the event is. I probably should find that out because I need to be there in 20 minutes.
You better get going.
But I will get going. Thank you, guys and girls. We'll be back next Thursday. We're working our way backwards. Like first it was Sunday, now it's Friday. Then we're going to be on Thursday.
It's a Thursday show, guys.
Thursday show.
Zach's in California. The previous week we were getting everything sorted. Once Becca's with them, we'll be good.
Yeah, she basically my scheduler.
All right.
Anyhow, guys and girls, thanks so much. Have a fantastic week. This is Super Ultimate Podcast Extreme Remix. And for Gabe and I, you are super.
Oh, super.